Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Glad that everybody gets a chance to join us today. Today, I'm here with my co-host, Will, and I've got some of our good friends right here from down the road in Tulsa. We got Mikey and Jordan Garrett with us from the Curious Bison. How you doing, guys? I would ask you what the weather's like down there, but you're like 20 minutes from me, so it's not. I'm assuming it's not that
like
different.
83 today. I'm a little sad I'm working the store because I'm going to be inside and watching everybody else enjoy it today.
Yeah, it's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. It's great even right now. What is it right now? It's it feels almost 60, which is great. Will, I don't even want to hear about it, but what's it like in Sacramento?
Actually, our weather is sunny today. It's going to be in the 60s, but the rest of the week is just downpour. Supposed to rain all week through Tuesday.
Wow.
So, yep, we get one more sunny day as I'm in here doing a live.
Well, we're going to have a great time regardless of the weather because the Garretts are going to be talking to us about ChatGPT, which is something that several people know about, but a lot have not discovered. And so they're going to be teaching a whole 90-minute class at the conference this summer down in Grapevine, not Dallas. I got to get that right. And it's going to be a fantastic class. And they're here just to give us a little bit of an overview of some of the things they're going to be teaching and also take questions that you might have about ChatGPT. And we'll do our best to answer as many as we can here. And again, if you're watching, as always, if you're watching on demand later, you can still drop something in the chat and we'll keep up with it. And if the guys can't keep up, we'll send them messages and we'll try to get all your questions answered. So before we get started, I don't want to assume that everybody knows them. So guys, why don't you just introduce yourself real quick? Tell us the name of your store and what you guys do. And then we'll start off with some initial questions.
For sure. So hello, everybody. I am Jordan, and this is Mikey. We run the Curious Bison. We started about 3.5, 4-ish years ago on a Glowforge. Now we have a Mira 9 as well as the X-Tool F1 and the F1 Ultra. That's what we run here out at the store. But you're kind of looking at a little bit of our storefront here in the background. And there may be a little bit of side noise. We have a busy street out here, and there's some construction on the other side. So just a heads up on that.
It sounds great, man. And I've been there. That's a super cool store. I love your store. It's really great. Will, why don't you start us off and let's get talking about ChatGPT.
Yeah, definitely. We're excited about this because it's something that I'm not super familiar with. And I don't want to assume that the people who are watching this or who will watch it on the replay know what ChatGPT is. So if you guys can just tell us a little bit, what is ChatGPT?
That's a great question because a lot of people really don't understand what it is. And I'll start off with more of a technical version of it, and then I'll explain. So what ChatGPT is, it's a chatbot based off of a LLM, which is a large language model. So OpenAI is the parent company, ChatGPT is the product. And what they do is they train this chatbot off of just this large language model, off of just data from all around the world, all around the internet. It's just constantly taking all of the data that is on the internet and it's condensing it into a chatbot. So it's honestly super easy. If you can chat with a friend, you can chat with ChatGPT. It's literally just, you go in there, you can ask it questions. And we're used to talking to Siri or Alexa like a robot. You don't have to do that with ChatGPT. It's almost like talking with the person. Sometimes I forget I'm talking with someone that's not a person. You talk to it just like you would anybody else. And then it talks to you and it's just a conversation. It's honestly just feeling like chatting with somebody. And it brings out some really good information.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, to pertain to us and our laser businesses, how is this, why does AI matter to a laser business and how are some of the ways that you guys utilize that in your business?
So one way that I've been utilizing it immediately right now, first would be Instagram and social media, just simply writing captions. And, I'll upload the photo into the program and then tell it, hey, write a social media caption for my laser cut woodworking business. And after you kind of put in a little bit about you, as long as you keep going back to that thread, it'll keep remembering those things. So I'm not putting in every single prompt, I'm a laser cut business. After a while, it will just know that. It will know who Mikey is, who Jordan is after a while. You just kind of like teach it that. But I'll have it write my caption so it sounds like me. That way it gets it to about 80% of the way there on the caption. And then I'll add my extra 20% flair to make it sure it sounds like me and not fully robotic, or generic. And then I'll have it write my alt captions. So one thing that's really big right now is making sure that, screen readers and visually impaired people can still understand what my product is. So I can just have it, I upload the photo, say, write an alt caption. On the free version, if I have like 3 or 4 photos I'm posting, you don't want to upload all of those because it'll take away how much you can use it. So I'll just say, write 4, alt captions off this one photo, and then I'll spit all those out. I can populate those. I don't even have to think about it. And then other ways, like for people who are building their SEO for their websites or for Etsy, I can literally put in there and say, write this title, write this backend description, write the 13 tags this may need. Because I cannot think of 13 different combinations of how someone would search for that, but it can.
Yeah. In fact, just everybody who's watching, they're going to do a walkthrough of some things here on the screen here in a little bit. So if you are brand new to ChatGPT and you're thinking, I don't know what he's talking about, that's going to be okay, because you're going to see some stuff on the screen here in just a few minutes. So,
and that's the handy part, is if you don't know what to even do, you can even just ask ChatGPT, how do I even handle this?
Yeah.
How do I even start about going this process? And it'll even tell you, Monday, you can do this, Tuesday, do this, like make it easier for me.
It's great. It's great.
So to expand on why it's important for laser business owners is a lot of us are 1 to 2 to 3 person teams. We're really small and we don't have the bandwidth to do marketing, to do copywriting, to spend all of our time doing that. So it's honestly like I used to work as a marketing manager at a university, and I had a lot of students underneath me. I had a lot of student workers, and it's almost like having an intern or student worker that can help you out, that's an expert in those fields. And we'll explain on that a little bit more. We'll use that analogy quite a bit and explain why I think it's like an intern versus just a professional. But it helps you. It helps you speed up that process. It takes the time are things that would take you so much time. And like you said, it gets you 80% there. So instead of taking hours to get there, you can take minutes, and then you can take the time to just refine that and turn it into your marketing. And so for a business owner, it just saves us a lot of time where we don't have those employees, but it's basically like having an employee that we don't have to pay for.
And speaking of paying for, there's a paid and a free version. You might have wanted to talk about that later, but I'm just going to jump the line and ask, which one do you use? And are there advantages or disadvantages to either one?
So the free version is just going to be, for how I use it, I can only upload so many photos per day, and I'm very limited on that. But if I'm trying to build out my whole Etsy backend, I went ahead and, at least I'm going to pay for that month, try to get a lot more uploads allowed on the photos, because they'll limit you on the free version. So that way I can knock out a lot more projects. It only might take me 2 or 3 days to knock it all out, versus having to only do 1 or 2, 3 products a day. And it takes me weeks to get my whole catalog online.
That makes sense.
So we actually do use the paid version for those exact reasons, but we started off with the free version. We both have our own individual accounts for the free version, and then we have a business account that we use to pay. And there are some advantages. So when you're using ChatGPT, even on the free version, you're using ChatGPT 4.0. And so that's their fastest model. It's their latest model, although technically they came out with 4.5 recently. But so if you're on the free version, you can use that same 4.0 that you can with the plus version, but they're going to limit you to how many queries you can use within a 6-hour period, I believe. So once you hit that, it knocks you down to 3.5, which, to be honest, for most of what we're doing, 3.5 is still phenomenal. So I would suggest everybody start on the free version. We started on the free version forever. And then if you have that need, if you feel like you're a power user, if you're using it constantly, then it might be worth upgrading. There are a few other features, like you can create projects, and what a project is basically a folder. And within that folder, you can give like specific instructions for that folder, every chat that you do within that folder. So we have one for admin work. We have one for marketing.
We have one for the Next Level Laser Conference.
We have one for this class where we're asking questions to kind of, again, brainstorm those things. So there is advantages to the pro version, but I would definitely suggest most people start with the free version. It's just when you're starting off, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So just start with that free version. And like I said, even if you do get bumped down to that 3.5, it is absolutely still phenomenal for what we're doing.
And I'll let you know, like, hey, you've just hit your limit. So you'll kind of know when you're getting bumped between the levels.
Hey, Will, cool. I'll ask you a question, Will, and I'll ask you a question, Will, and then you can kind of bounce to those guys. I know you use it a little bit, Will, and I use it a little bit. What device do you use it on, Will?
I almost exclusively use it on my phone, just because my phone is always in my hand. I might have something that comes up.
Let me see your other hand. You got it in your hand right now? Oh, no. Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah. Every time
It's
that
next
Will
time.
sends me, we're chatting or something, every screenshot, it's like the battery's getting ready to turn off. The phone's getting ready to turn off. It's dead constantly.
I am at red right now, like
he is.
constantly. So, but one thing I know that you guys mentioned to us about ChatGPT in the beginning, it can be a little daunting, right? Because you're new to it, you're not familiar with what to do. You just say, what do I type? And I know one key thing you guys said was us getting better at putting in the right prompts, right?
Correct.
Like, how was that process for you guys as far as learning to understand that the better the prompts are, the better the results come out from it?
I think that's a lot of people's experience with ChatGPT. If you've used it years ago or you just tried it, you might type something in and it might give you something that sounds robotic and generic. And you're like, all this sounds the same. I don't want to lose the soul of my business and who I am. And you might give up on it. But I urge you not to, because like you said, if you start teaching it, and over the last couple of years, they've added a lot of features to help with that. It has a memory feature where you can tell it stuff and it'll remember it. And you can even go into your settings, see what it remembered, delete stuff, add stuff. Even recently, he was talking about keeping stuff within the same thread. I'm not sure if it's pro only, but if it is pro only, it should trickle down to the free version where it actually started to remember from thread to thread, even what you talk about. So the more you use it, you'll learn what it's good at, what it's not good at, how to prompt those things, and it'll remember about you and how you want things. So you don't have to, at the beginning, it's super important to tell it those and to make those prompts. But as you use it more, even that goes away. And it is daunting. We like to use the analogy. It's like a laser. When you first get it, it's super daunting. You're like, what is this thing? How do I use it? But just like ChatGPT, the prompts are just like your settings, your speed, your power, your focus. It's like you have to dial those things down to get your laser to do what you want. You have to dial your prompts down and that information to get ChatGPT to give you what you want.
But then after that, it's really easy to just go back to, and I can just re-upload photos and it will pop. It already knows this whole thing is just about writing social media posts. So I don't have to be crazy every single time, again, down to time saving. But again, you have to train it first at the very beginning, just kind of learning about it. And I'll even, it takes me 3 or 4 prompts per social media post. I'll say, write the social media post, and I'm like, I wouldn't write it like that. And I'll even say, make this sassier, add in better emojis. Like, too many emojis actually takes them away. But, I'll tell it how I want it to be, how I'm feeling that day,
I know when I first started using it, I did what, I actually Googled how to use ChatGPT like an idiot instead of just asking it how to use it. But I did the first, like, ask me 10 questions, ask me 20 questions about me and my business to teach it what I do. Do you guys recommend that? Do you find that works well?
Absolutely. I would encourage it to even ask those follow-up questions. And I do that all the time where I'm like, if you don't understand what I'm asking, please ask follow-up questions to me so you better understand. It's honestly, like I said, just like I said earlier, talking to an intern or talking to a student worker, you want it to ask questions. You want it to learn about you. And it can bring fresh ideas that you don't have.
Sidetracking, one thing I'd say on the social media post too, the number one prompt I use to make it sound better afterwards is make this post sound like I'm talking to a friend.
That's good.
And the amount of like spirit or life I get into the post is so much better. It may add a little bit of, unprofessionalism to it, but some people nowadays want that. They don't want it super crisp and generic.
That's great. Man, I'm resisting. I so want to just have you walk us through ChatGPT right now. I mean, I don't want to push you into that, but everything I hear you saying, I go, oh, I want to see how that works. Oh, I want to see how that works.
Tabitha, what she just posted, actually, how to respond to customer emails.
That's absolutely a big one. And that's actually one of my favorite ways to do that. Because as we were running this store, and especially last Christmas, it was such a big deal where we were sending so many orders out and USPS was constantly delayed. Things were lost in transit. And sometimes I don't know how to respond to those messages. It's just like, what do I say to them? What kind of advice do I give to them? Some people expect us to be USPS. They're like, why don't you just send it out today? I see it's close to me. And using ChatGPT to respond to customers is one of my favorite things because I don't have that empathetic layer, and it gives that for me. It gives that understanding, empathetic layer to my customer service responses. Because sometimes I'm just like, "What are you talking about? I don't understand this," and I'll run that through GTP, and it makes the customer feel heard and understood. It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I understand that may be frustrating. You're excited to get this gift to give it to your family," and it'll take my short, direct answer and it'll fluff it up and make the customer feel heard and seen and give them a good answer, which I think is a great way to use it.
Write this like Jordan would.
Yeah, exactly.
My prompt is more passive aggressive, please.
I don't need that prompt.
Yeah, I actually don't need that as well. So
No,
but
you do not.
Less passive aggressive.
Yeah, that's his built-in
less
prompt.
passive aggressive.
I will say, yeah, Will is so eloquent though in some ways. I mean, he can totally insult me and I'll feel great about it. Like, oh yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
That's a popular skill these days, apparently.
It is. It is. I'll. Oh, you know what? Before we jump any further, let's mention real quick that you guys are going to be giving away a ticket to the conference. We'll circle back to this, but
sure.
tell us, how can somebody win a free ticket from Curious Bison?
So we're going to be making a post right after this in the Next Level Laser Conference group, basically how to enter to win. And we really just want to hear from you guys. What are some questions you guys may have about ChatGPT, things that we're not addressing, so that way we can address your questions. And then also, if you have any restraints towards it, what has been your experience in the past that has held you back, that way we can help maybe guide you in the best way of how we use it, how it's super friendly, how, it's just an app on your phone, an app on your computer, even on the browser. It's just super easy to get to. We use it all the way down into our personal lives. I've used it as a therapist even before, the questions you can ask it, it knows so much about. That's why we have personal ChatGPTs instead of just a business one. But
Sure.
Yeah, so we want you to go into that thread and just comment. If you've used ChatGPT, how do you use it in your business? Explain to us so we can get ideas, some ways that we're not using it and we can help. And then if you've used it in the past, but you don't use it anymore, why? What reluctance do you have towards it? What has stopped you from using it? And if you've never even used it before, why not? What do you have? What questions do you have? What can we do to help you in our class? That's what we want to use it for.
That's great. And then I take it that you'll go through those and pick a random winner, and you're going to announce the person who gets the free ticket on Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. We'll pick from the comments and we'll announce the winner.
That's great. That's great.
Perfect. Oh, as you know, speaking of, I heard we talked about me doing it on my phone, and then you said computer. For those who don't use it, and like I said, I primarily use it on my phone. If I look up prompts or I ask it questions on my phone and then I go to my computer, will they transfer between all your devices?
As long as you're logged into the same account. So that's why we have like one tied to our business email account and we have our personal one. So depending on which account, yes, it will save those between the accounts. So that way it is seamless between, picking it up on your phone and then now you're at your computer working, just pulling it up and asking something there real quick.
And there are even dedicated apps on both your phone and your computer that you can do. I have the app on my Mac and I can just hit, I think it's like, there's a keyboard shortcut. I think it's like option space and it'll bring it up. So I could be in the middle of working and I just need to prompt it and I'll hit that. And exactly, it'll pull from your past chats and everything. And it'll be the exact same ChatGPT as you're using on your phone.
That's great.
Oh, great. Yeah, because I'll have ideas, that I do a lot of my work on my computer later, but I'll have a great idea while in the bathroom on my phone that I have to ask a question for. So I just want to make sure it's all tied together. I'm tired of the Post-it notes.
Yes. That's great.
I'm a firm believer still in Post-it notes. There's something about a physical note that I feel like I have to get it done more.
Well, but using the tools together, right?
For sure.
For sure.
Whiteboards are my friend. I love just checking things off. I don't want to erase it. I just want to draw a line through it to say, okay, that was a task and it's done, versus I don't see what the task was. So there is something to that.
Man, one of my bucket list things would be to have the dry erase walls everywhere, because I just want to write all the time. That's probably my ADHD also, but I just want to write whenever I'm thinking about it. So when I've had a glass top on some of my desks and being able to just write anywhere I'm thinking about is amazing, but that's a whole other thing. Anything else we want to talk about before we bring up a window and start talking through it? Will or guys, do you have anything you want to mention before we do that?
I think most of what we talked about so far is going to be those basic levels of how to use ChatGPT. And in our class, we're going to go over beginner ways to use it, advanced ways to use it, and intermediate ways to use it. And so you might be hearing some of this stuff and you're like, oh yeah, I already know that. But I promise you, we do have other more advanced and intermediate and advanced ways to use it. Like recently, we should all know how much each of our products cost to make. And you can do the math yourself, but it would take forever. So recently I used ChatGPT and I said, hey, we have a 5 foot by 5 foot board. It costs us this amount. How much is it per square inch? And then I'll say, okay, a product is 11 by 18. How much does that product cost me to make? And I just flew through all of our products figuring out exactly how much it cost us to make that product, when it would have taken me probably about 10 times as long doing the math manually.
That's so good.
So stuff like that. And then one of our examples we're going to give, and it's a way I use it all the time. We do about 7 shows a year, craft shows, art shows, and they'll send us these long like vendor guidelines and rules. And a lot of it'll have like technical jargon, and it's like and if you're doing like, especially towards the end of the year, we might have 2 shows in November and 2 shows in December, and it gets confusing of what show is which. So I'll read through all of those, but then I'll be prepping for a show and I'm like, okay, what show was this? We can upload that PDF into ChatGPT and ask it that question. Like, where do I park? What time do I have to be there? Am I allowed electricity at this? And we'll show an example of that. But those are some of the intermediate and advanced ways that we use it.
Oh, what do you think about this question? Mary says, never used it before. Well, keep track of things you have it create for you, like store it. Talk to us about that for a second.
To an extent. So it has a memory, and it's quite a bit of a memory, and it's on the free and pro plan. They introduced that last year, and your memory does get full. It'll keep track of you for a long time, and then it'll start telling you the memory's getting close to being full. So within a single chat, it'll remember about 200 pages of content within that chat, and that has nothing to do with the memory. Those are called tokens, and it'll remember that all within the same chat window. From chat window to chat window, recently they've started remembering more things, but your memory remembers it across every single chat you do. So that's the most important, is what you do. And then you can always go back and view those chats at any time. So say you create something 2 months ago, there's a search function, which is great. You can search for it, and you can always go back to that chat, continue to talk within that chat, and it'll have everything that you've created within that.
As so much
you
of it,
can still copy and paste and pull things out if you need things permanently saved. So yeah, if you created like a chart or whatever, yeah, just save that to your like notes separately, and that's permanently something you can go back to and reference easily.
Yeah, I'm a big techie nerd in general, but I always say if something is really important to you, don't leave it on a website or leave it somewhere. Copy it somewhere else.
I have to screenshot things for my memory, and I'll go back to my camera roll to reference what do I need to remember. Yeah. So that's definitely me. I'll screenshot and be like, okay, I'm coming back to this tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's almost my to-do list too.
That's great. Tamara says, I'm learning to use it. It's very precise. I'm very nice to my chatty, and he always said nice things to me depending on what I'm asking to write for me. It is funny that I have a tendency, like you kind of hinted at, is forgetting that this is not a person, and trying to be polite, which I don't have to be, but I still am. Oh, thank you very much. You're welcome. I do that to Siri and to Alexa as well. Thanks.
When the AI uprising happens, they'll remember that.
Yes, yeah.
Who's nice to us?
Yeah, that's right.
But side note to that, actually, what's funny about that is you can be like short with it. You can tell, I don't like those ideas. Give me 25 more, and you don't have to worry about hurting its feelings, and it'll just populate.
That's something I always joke around with. I talk about how I had employees or student workers when I was a marketing manager, and it is hard when somebody gives you a creative idea and you're like, oh no, that was not it. It's hard to not hurt their feelings and to tell them that you don't have to worry about that with ChatGPT. You can be like, nah, that was a terrible idea. Never say anything like that again. And it doesn't have its own personal vendetta against you next time you ask those questions.
Man, there's some great questions here. I want to throw a few on the screen here, and I will. And then I'd like to get to screen share for you guys and just start working on that as well. But let me grab a few of these. Can it make images? Does it make logos? Good question.
So there is a function within it called Dolly, and it's an image generation. And can it make images? Yes. Is that where it excels? Absolutely not. That is an area that is very much beginning in, and you'll see that sometimes. You'll see people post AI images, and I would really urge people not to do that. It makes your business feel very inauthentic, and people can tell, especially more than anything. Don't use AI-based, fingers for sure. It'll give 4 or 5, 7 fingers sometimes. Yeah. Especially don't use it to image generate products that you're actually making. I've seen people do that, and it blows my mind. I'm like, you have these beautiful products that you're selling, and you're using these AI images of it, and it blows my mind. As far as can it make logos? Yes, it can help you brainstorm ideas for logos. Should you take that final logo and use that as your logo? Absolutely not. Use it as a tool. And that's what we always say. It's a tool to enhance your creativity, not replace it. You should not be going in there and saying, make me a logo and pulling it off of there. Can you do that? Yes. Is that going to be the best bet? Absolutely not.
It's always going to have misspellings. It's going to have some errors to it, things that just don't make sense. Like the lines don't line up.
The spelling is just on graphics is horrible. I've even tried. I said, please do this again, but spell it correctly.
Oh, for sure.
Doesn't do it. And then I'll say, please spell it this way. Doesn't do it. I'm talking about graphics, not text. I'm not just text, but it sometimes just cannot spell.
It does that to me too. I was messing around with it one day because I wanted to take our bison and kind of make like a little mascot out of it. And I'm like, how would a bison look standing up doing stuff? And so I kept telling it, take the nose ring out, because it kept giving me a bison with the big nose ring. Yeah. And I was like, take the nose ring out. Okay, here's an updated image with the nose out the nose ring. Still had it. Had to ask it like 4 times. And then it eventually was like, that's not something I can do. So that is image generation is something where it really struggles with. And I personally, we don't use it. We use it to brainstorm ideas, and he uses it to do that, but we never use that final image at all.
You know, I will say we use it for like photo room for background image generation.
Yes.
But as far as the actual thing we're handing to the customer, that is a real photograph of that product.
Correct. Me too. I use it all the time. Yeah. I'll take a photo right here on this table, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll have like, say, photo room, change the background out, but that's a real thing sitting right there. Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. And again, every now and again, the background is ridiculous. Something just makes no sense whatsoever.
And that's why I pay for the photo room app, is because you only get like 4 backgrounds, like on the free version, right. I think. And I'll populate that thing 20 times before I'm like, that's the image that actually looks real to me.
And I think that the photos are kind of like the text, in that you train it to give you what you want. The better your prompt is, the better results you'll get. And then occasionally you still don't get it and you got to try it again. So
correct. Personally, since I have a photography background, this is a little bit more on the advanced side. I will use photo room to get me again 80% of the way there. Then I'll throw it into Photoshop, and those lines that don't make sense, or the ornaments that look like weird ornaments, I'll repopulate those to what I need to be.
It's great. Do you guys want to jump into showing us a little bit?
For sure.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, let's go to.
I will let me know when you're ready, and I'll pull it up.
Okay. So I have a new window open. Let me get my file ready.
I would just say do all that on camera.
You want me to?
I'm trying to find my. Sorry. Okay, here it is. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. So yeah, you just kind of tell us. First of all, I think just give us kind of an overview of the screen here, where things are and what they do, and then just take it away, and then we'll ask questions as we go.
So this is going to be your main screen here. I just open it up and I'm going to click on ChatGPT. These are the other, I guess you call GTPs, like macro factor is something we use for like working out kind of thing. That's personally how we use it. The video summary is where I can add, like put in a whole YouTube link, and then it'll spit out all the information about it. But just for the normal things, we're going to go to ChatGPT. Here, I've uploaded a photo of one of our products. It's our layered Skyline glasses. And so I can come in here and be like, write a product description.
And there's nothing like typing while people are watching. It's the best.
Oh, I'm the worst speller in the world, so everyone please forgive me.
Yeah.
I write a product description for my laser cut business in Tulsa. Tulsa. In Tulsa. This is I'm going to say a wood layered product. So this is going to be the very generic thing I'm going to say. I'm going to give this probably 2 rounds of this. So it's going to now scan this photo that I just uploaded with it, tell it to write out a product description. Now it might populate a little bit of stuff based on the, like what I saved this photo as. Like this photo is called Tulsa Skyline glasses, so it's going to read that information too. But here it's popping out a whole description about this. You know, bring a stylish touch of Tulsa into your home or office with the unique laser cut wooden sunglasses featuring the iconic Tulsa Skyline. So, you know, it's already going to populate all of these extra fluffy words in there that I wouldn't think to add to it. And what's really nice is I can come in here and I can tell it add more emojis. So I'm going to say add more emojis, and let's write this like I'm talking to a best friend. Another thing I'll say sometimes instead of that is I'll say, talk more about the features and benefits of this product versus just the salesy things about it. So that way they'll talk about, this is an amazing gift. You're going to be the person that stands out at the party. Like that's the real things they're almost buying it for. But you guys can see as soon as I'm typing this, how quickly it's populating now, like this whole response. It's almost like, again, I'm talking to a friend right now.
And I got to just emphasize, even if it never writes it perfectly, I can edit this so much faster than I can start from zero.
For sure. So again, kind of like what Mikey was saying, instead of me taking an hour to write the perfect post, this is going to take me 2 minutes to get to this, and then another 2 to 5 minutes to maybe take out a line or two of what I wouldn't say of this. So I'm never going to, we always say that this is our intern. I'm never going to allow my intern to immediately just write it and post. I'm going to double check my intern before I trust them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, again, how I'm going to treat it. But I mean, this is just a product description right off this. And it's really good for Etsy. I can tell it to make it longer. I could say use the 500 word max or whatever it is. Or I can also just immediately in the same prompt, I can now say, write a social media post now. So now I can say write a social media post. And now I'm taking a product description and now I need it worded for a social media post, because those two, how you talk, are going to be two different things.
Yeah.
And so it's going to make sure, like, the first thing has it right for us is it's going to be a little bit more of a bold statement. That's an eye-catching thing. Tulsa, your new favorite decor has just landed. And then they're going to be like, okay, what is this? Reading more into it. So I normally don't like have it write this long, and I never trust its hashtags. I normally always go in there and adjust it to what I think will be better. But again, just quickly, I can now take this photo, post it to Instagram, copy, paste, and adjust a line or two, and I'm done. I don't even have to think about it. And if you want to do a whole scheduling, of post, you can get all that done within an hour instead of like it taking an hour per post.
So good. Man.
So that's like one way I'm using it right now for social media, for backend writing. I can say write the alt tag. So again, this is going to be for like visually impaired and screen readers. So I can say write the alt tag, and that's also going to help my SEO too. So it's going to help searchability. And so it's going to give it the really quick visual description. So what the person that can't see the screen, possibly, this is what they can read and understand my product.
Man, so good. So real quick, so from right here, let's say that was perfect, just for sake of argument. What do you do here? Do you copy it into a note? Do you leave it here? Where do you go?
I'll personally leave it here, and on like my phone, I'll just be swiping between Instagram back and forth kind of thing. So that way I'll copy my product description, paste it in there, then go into settings, copy the alt tag, go over the alt tag thing, paste that in there, and then just double check it, read it, and then click post.
Yeah, that's great.
So just kind of right between the two apps. And that's why it's handy to be on your computer or on your phone, however you are posting, it's available on both. And then Mikey, do you want to talk about the contract portion?
Sure. So like I mentioned earlier, one way I really like to use it. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new chat just to keep separated and keep it organized. And it's not based off of that context from that previous chat.
By the way, real quick, how did you start? I wasn't paying attention. How did you start?
So just right up here. Honestly, it's just like creating a new note. It's that exact same icon, creating a new chat. You can do it there. Something we'll talk about at the actual class is up here. It's not super important to worry about right now, but these are the different models that ChatGPT uses. We are on 4.5, but I'm going to switch it to 4.0 just because that's what the default free plan uses. There's not a big difference. But what we're going to do here, what did you do with that? Is it not yours?
It's going to be, sorry, I'm going to help Mikey real quick with this here.
So we're on the computer here. So we're literally just dragging this PDF straight into the window, same way you would upload it to any other thing on the internet. So we just upload this straight in, and I'm going to say, let's see, I'm going to say review this contract for our upcoming show.
This is so cool. I've never even thought about it.
Tell me the key takeaways.
Hey, Will, are we going to do this afternoon with all the hotel stuff?
It really is great because a lot of legal jargon and some of this stuff. We did it for our contract for our store here, and it's like, and that way we're not getting tricked by anything. We understand it in a language that's good to us. So ChatGPT does know our business, the Curious Bison, but just for sake of this demonstration, I'm going to say, my business is the Curious Bison. Can you tell me what my booth number is?
Okay.
Now, did you run our contract for Next Level Laser contract?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. And the fact that we didn't hear anything about it is probably a good thing, because we didn't. We're trying to hide it deep in the fine print.
I was going to say that's Will's fault. If you liked it, it was me. If you didn't, it was Will.
So here we go. So honestly, within 15 seconds, it's pulling out the key stuff, what the date is, what the location is.
Wow.
Public hours for customers to come in. It's pulling out my booth information, A31, telling me my setup time.
Now, I'm curious because I haven't seen the document. I don't need to see it, but is it pulling the document from like a photo in there? Like, is it a layout or is it actually text?
So the booth number is text, but it can pull from photos. It can take that exact same information from photos. So honestly, this is the exact type of information I would need to know going into a show.
So on the opposite side of things, so I'm a wedding photographer and I went to a wedding conference, and there were so many classes that I wasn't going to be able to attend, but I needed to find the best classes that were best for me. So I uploaded the PDF of the classes and said, what is the best classes for me to take for me to grow my business? And after it learned a little bit about me, it told me, you're going to take all of these classes, skip these, like, here's my best track for me.
Wow.
And so that's something that could possibly be done with our conference as well.
And that's something we'll talk about as well in our class. It won't be ChatGPT. It'll be Google's Notebook LLM, if anyone's heard of that. That is basically where you're kind of creating your own language model based off of like notes that you input. So you can take your notes from these classes. Say, there's gonna be 25 classes. You can take your notes from all those classes, upload it into Notebook LLM, and you can ask questions just like I'm doing here based off the information that you're giving into it. And that'll be something we talk about in our class and kind of give a demo of it as well. So that'll be something to look forward to. But yeah, so this pulled out the event day reminders, food and drinks. It's gonna tell me, hey, there's no food vendors on site. I need to bring my own food. It's gonna tell me about Wi-Fi. It's gonna tell me about parking, tear down and move out. This is all the information I need to know. So it also tells me about electricity. But let's say I have a question.
So I already saw the answer, but if you don't want to read even all this, say, what's the Wi-Fi information?
Correct.
It actually says refer to your packet, but if you don't want to really find all that information, that's what you do.
I'm even going to say, like, where do I park? That's a big question for us on some of these shows.
And so you just got to give it a second. It's rereading the whole.
So good. So good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's pulling information from that document and giving me an answer to it. So super helpful information. We do this a lot with documents.
Can you print directly from here? Is this like a website in that I use like a browser and print, or?
So you absolutely can use a browser. This is the actual ChatGPT native app for Mac, but. So no, you can't print directly from here. I believe if you're in the actual window in the ChatGPT site, you can. If not, you can always just copy and paste this into a note and do that. You can even tell it to make you documents. You can say, hey, turn this into a PDF that I can print or a Word document. And we'll be going over a lot more of that type of stuff in our class.
So good. Oh my goodness. This is great.
And then for you guys writing contracts, say if you're doing custom orders or stuff like this, you can even upload your existing contract and say, what are some other protections I need to put in here that could protect me? I'm a laser cut business. What do you recommend for custom orders? Do I only do 33% down? Do I do 50% down? Here are my material costs. What do you recommend? And it'll walk you through all of that. It'll help you rewrite your own existing contracts. Obviously, still check with a lawyer, but if you need to get help a little bit or advance a little bit there, it'll move you forward.
And while I have this window up, I'll kind of show. So these are some of the things that we talked about with the ChatGPT Plus. You can create projects within it. So let me go TCB marketing. So I can say instructions act as a marketing manager. We want to be relatable, professional brand voice. And you can even dial that down a lot more, but we have all these chats within that. So within this folder, it's going to use this set of instructions. And we use this one to do exactly what we said earlier, where we're putting in stuff and it's giving us that information. And it's easier to keep it within that thread, but SEO optimization, tag suggestions, website design and photography. I mean, you can see we do use this for everything.
See, and I will create separate tabs for SEO or like SEO stuff for, like I said, the image optimization versus Etsy's alt tag or like all these different things. So I don't have to keep typing every single prompt every single time. After a while, you can just re-upload a photo for the next thing and it understands, okay, I'll just do the same thing I did the last time. So it just really quickly populating these things out.
So here's one thing that we did where we had it do our return policy for our website. And it popped out so many things that I wouldn't have even thought of to say to our customers about our return policy. And then I was able to tell it, summarize these key points for frequently asked questions on our webpage. So it can take that content and use it for different stuff. And honestly, the possibilities are endless. And in a small business, this would have taken me an entire day to do. And it took me less than 10 minutes.
That's so great. Man, time is flying.
Where's the search function on there? Or as people want to go back and say,
correct. So it's literally
as you might be.
Literally just right up here at the top, you hit search. I mean, this app is so easy to use. It's super user friendly. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I would want to search, but you can just search it. It'll show you every chat that you've talked about that with. And bring those up. It's super easy. Something I like to do before we had the pro version where we can create projects is I would put an emoji right before the chats that I use the most, so that if I wanted to find a chat really fast, I'd put like a little social media emoji in front of the one that we're talking about social media. So it was just a visual way for me to find that chat really fast.
Great. Man, time is going so fast because it's so much fun. I know you guys need to open your store here in not too long from now. So as you're thinking about the laser community, what are some other ways, big or small, that you think that they could get a lot of value out of ChatGPT? I mean, you've hit so many things I didn't even thought of. You mentioned how to respond to a customer. You've mentioned some policies, FAQs. What other things could you possibly use ChatGPT for in this context with this audience?
Do you want to talk about how when we were doing our website, we were like, redesigning it with like lifestyle photos and then the hero image?
Yeah, so we were redesigning it. We said we're trying to create more of a lifestyle brand to bring in a little bit more life to our website, because we figured that's where people were maybe distrusting us. We just had a simple white website, just the product, stuff like that. And so it was able to populate kind of a fake image of like, here's what your website should look like. And it showed us, okay, I need a good, what's called a hero image, the main image across the bar. And it showed me examples of what that should look like. And it kind of showed me layout. And I was like, that is something I would aspire to like have the website look like. So it's really helped me guide that way on website design, and I can even tell it, write out the blurbs, write out these small things, expand on this, shorten this, etc.
That's really great.
Something we'll provide at our class. I haven't written exactly how many, but we're going to provide sample like prompts that you're going to be able to download, take home with you, and use those for your business. We'll teach you how to, if you teach it your customer, your target audience, and if you don't know your target audience, using ChatGPT to find your target audience.
One thing they could take away with right now is just like, you could like, the one thing that I use it for that is, I guess, when I'm trying to convince Mikey into buying a new machine is I'll say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a sublimation printer, list out 20 products I could make with this. And it will spit out all the different things. You could say, I only have this materials, like what can I make with this? And it will give you ideas of where to take those, like how to get rid of them. Hey, I'm sitting on 200 tumblers. What do I get? How do I sell these? And they'll say, okay, here's a de-stash way. Okay, here's corporate events that you could sell these at. Here's discounts that I recommend. Like it will just populate all of that. It's helping us write out our social media plan, to where I can say, I don't want to always have all my products saying, buy me, buy me, buy me. Here's a product, buy this. So it's told me, how about you talk about the materials, why you love maple versus a walnut wood on this project? Like talk about the love and obsession of it versus just the product, and then let the customer do the back end stuff. And I'm like, that's genius.
We also used it to kind of give us a rough outline of our entire year. We said, hey, it knows a lot about us. But we said, here's our business. Here's the things that are important to us. Here's our target audience. Go through the year and pull out holidays or pull out important dates that we need to know. So it pulled out, like we do our national park maps, and it pulled out like the national park birthday and said, make sure you put a post on that day. Our business is called the Curious Bison. So there's National Bison Day. It told us that. And it was like, make sure you post on National Bison Day about your business. So it's like, again, it's just, for me, I use it a lot for marketing, and that's my background, and that's how I use it. But it's almost like that social media marketing manager for me, just reminding me of these things when I'm too busy to do that myself.
Does it integrate with other programs at all in any way?
Yes, yes and no. So they are recently adding a lot to that. And if you have an iPhone 15 Pro or iPhone 16, you can actually sign into your ChatGPT in the settings and use it like on your phone or whatever. And you can even say like, take a screenshot. And so it's multimodal is what it's called. And you can upload the images and use your camera and stuff like that. And so, yes, that is something that they're doing a lot more recently, is integrating it into more products. And so I think by the time the class comes around in August, we'll be able to talk a lot more about that.
Yeah, so they're trying to put it inside of Apple Intelligence to, basically whatever Apple Intelligence can do, they offload it to ChatGPT. So they're kind of pushing it that way. And then also they're integrating it with the Notes app too.
Correct, yeah. So it's going to be integrated with Apple Notes if you have that application on your Mac.
Wow. So we've only got a couple more minutes before we got to let the guys go open the shop and do the business stuff there. So if anybody has any other questions, drop them in the chat there. We'll be happy to try to answer them. Man,
sure. And then I wanted to recap about the free ticket one more time, if possible. So again, just for people that didn't hear the first time, we are going to be giving away a free ticket to the conference. We're going to be putting a post up right after this in the conference group, just asking any other questions that we didn't get to, things that you guys would want to know, as well as any hesitations or things in the past that have maybe burnt you on it, and how we can maybe help guide you in the best direction, or how it's going now. All the things that have changed, and we just want to help you guys out with that. So this will just help us build our class, make sure we're teaching the correct things that you guys want to hear, and that way it's guided the best way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have what's called AI fatigue. We're seeing AI in everything. It's popping up in toothbrushes and, golf, it's everywhere. And people are having AI fatigue. They're like, it's the buzzword right now. So it's easy to ignore. It's easy to just be like, oh, we've been hearing about this for years. It's not relevant. It's just the new buzzword, but it's not. It's a tool. It's just like social media. There are some dangers to it, and there are some people that are really against using it, but it's here to stay. These companies are investing billions of dollars into this, and it's not going anywhere. So we can either figure out a way to use it as a tool and to advance our businesses, or we can just ignore it. And to us, I think it's really important to figure out exactly how to use it, how you can advance, and how it's going to best fit you. And that's what our class is going to be about. It's going to be very geared towards us as small business owners, how we can use it to help us, and how we can use it as that tool, not to replace creativity, but to enhance that creativity, to get you there faster. We like to use the analogy again of it like a laser cut. If you hand cut this wood, it's going to take you forever. But if you use your laser, it's going to get you a lot farther. But you still have to do things like dialing your settings. And that's the kind of things we're going to teach. We're going to use that analogy a lot of dialing your focus, dialing your settings. And that's what it is. You have to do those things to use the tool in the proper way to get the output. The output is only as good as the input, and that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be teaching. And we will, again, teach on we'll touch on some do's and don'ts. We'll touch on some different tools outside of ChatGPT that you can use. But we have a really exciting class plan for everybody.
Tabitha, back to your question about convincing your husband to buy a UV printer. I've tried using that so many times. I'll say list out 20 products. And if that isn't good enough, I'll say list out 100 more, and it will just keep diving into the depths of AI and like letting me come up with all these ideas.
And since it knows Mikey, can you use it to, dial it in?
Here's the best
Don't
method.
give him any ideas.
That's so great, man. So many.
What
great
is the best time to talk to him?
Yeah, right. That's so great. Feel more confident to use it and to help me. So that's awesome. Man, thank you so much. I think Will and I both agree. This has been so good. It's gone so fast. I don't want to assume anything, but I think we'd love to have you guys back again sometime between now and the conference, because this is so good for all of us. So everybody, I guess we're just going to let them get to because they got to open their doors here in less than 15 minutes. So we'll let them go. Will, is there anything that you want to say right before we wrap this up? We want to make sure that people go and comment on their post. By the way, it's not there yet. So
we'll be making it within about 10 minutes of the end of this.
Yeah. So
as soon as they get the ChatGPT prompt on what to post.
You are not calling us out like that.
No, but thank you guys. I think it's going to be exciting. If you guys are interested in learning more about it, definitely come to the Next Level Laser Conference. We are honored to have Jordan and Mikey there teaching this and being a part of the conference as not just an attendee, but as a teacher this time. So check them out. It's going to be amazing. I'll end for me with, I was at a conference and Damon John, I had lunch with him. I bid on a lunch with him at the Alibaba conference. And one thing he did say to me and to the group was, AI is not going to take your job, or it's not going to, but people who use it better could. So it's a tool that we need to start to understand, because it's just here. It's here. It's not going anywhere, like they said. And if we can use it to grow our business, we should be using every tool possible to put money in our pockets.
Yes. Such a time saver. It's great. I'll close with this myself. I use it a lot just to get my brain moving, because sometimes my brain just gets stuck, and I just need to move. And even if what it generates I hate, it's funny that even that moves me forward, because sometimes it just moves me forward, and that's for me the best thing about it.
Sometimes 20% is still better than zero. So it's like, as long as you make that first step, it's kind of the momentum will go.
That's correct. Man, what a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for joining us live. If you guys are joining us on demand later, please, again, use the chat. We get notified. So if you have any questions whatsoever, if you're going to join us, if you haven't grabbed tickets yet, you can do that at nextlevellasерevents.com. And there's a ton of information there. So let us know and jump in the conference group and comment on their post here in a few minutes and see if you can win a free ticket. So happy Tuesday, everybody. Garrett's, I hope you sell a ton of things today, and I hope you have a great time. And we appreciate you. You guys stick around. Everybody else, we will see you guys in the groups. So have a great day. So goodbye, everybody.
Sure. Bye, guys.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you very much.